Good.
Okay, live? All right, cool. Hey guys, it's Monday. It's gonna be now for the live. Go ahead and comment. Let me know where you're from. We're doing a bunch of workshops this year, and we're trying to figure out where to go based on where our largest following is. So let me know where you're from, and we'll consider coming to your area for a workshop. Now, I'm making this video because I wanted to talk about one of the things that I did at the Paleo FX conference this weekend, which is a big health and wellness conference here in Austin, Texas. And one of the things that I did was I had a body composition analysis. So the reason why I wanted to do this was mainly because I wanted to see how did the right and left side of my body compare. Have I done enough work on my right leg to kind of re-strengthen my knee after I had injuries a few years ago? And I wanted to know how well I've been doing in terms of strengthening that hip without having to do something, a more expensive test. So there's a few tests that you can use to analyze your kind of your body distribution. But I wanted to use this one because it was free. It was at the conference. I decided to do it there. And I was also curious about my body fat percentage, which is something else that is measured by this test. So I last time I did my body fat percentage test, I was 10%, and this was back in 2011 before I had done any yoga at all. And so I was curious to see, okay, well, it's been 5 years, well, almost 6 years now. So I want to know how has my body changed in the last 6 years, and what is my current body fat percentage? So I've always assumed that my body fat percentage was probably a 7 or an 8, maybe even a 9. Um, and so when I got up and I stood up on the machine, this is called an in-body is the assessment. And basically it's a scale that has two handles that you hold like this. And you step up onto the scale and then you hold the handles out like this for about 10 seconds while it analyzes your body composition. And so I started to notice that as I was standing there on the scale, the body fat percentage part was like slowly going up. So it was starting at 0% and it was going up fairly quickly. So I was like, okay, well, it looks like it's going up pretty quickly. I hope it slows down because I hope I'm on like 7 or 8% body fat, and I definitely don't want to be 10 or 11% body fat. So I looked up and I stopped looking at it after it got to like 3 or after it got to 3 because it was still rising really quickly. And then I looked up and I didn't look at it again until it was done. And then I looked down and I was shocked to see that it gave me a reading of 4.2% body fat. Now at first I was a little, I don't know, I wouldn't say excited. I was more so surprised at the effectiveness of my own routine, and also surprised that I was that low. Honestly, it was a little bit like me. It was kind of like it was the same. It was kind of the same as bodybuilders, right? You know how bodybuilders kind of are never satisfied with the way that their body looks. They always want to be bigger and bigger and more muscular. That was kind of it for me because I was like, oh, I always want to be more and more lean. I want to be more cut. I want to be more muscular, but definitely more cut. And so I was thinking that I was probably in the 8 to 10% body fat range, and that I could, get a little more cut if I clean up my dieting or did a little bit more intensive training. And so I was really surprised that I was only at 4.2%. And probably the reason for that is because I've been skipping breakfast for a very long time now. All I have is a smoothie in the mornings. Sometimes I'll have eggs and sweet potato in the morning and with some veggies. If I if I worked out the day before, if I did weights the day before, or if I'm really tired from the day before and I know my body needs a little bit more fuel. But for the most part, I don't eat from about 9 o'clock until 3 o'clock. So I fast during the day, and I don't eat. I usually have, and then at 3 or 4 o'clock, that's when I'll start to have lunch. I'll start eating leftovers from the night before. Um, and that's usually what I do. And of course, I'm working out during the day. So I'm doing a lot of, I'm doing probably an hour to an hour and a half, sometimes up to 2 hours of yoga a day. Sometimes I'll go on walks as well. So I'll walk 30 to 45 minutes a day. So all in all, I'm probably on my feet for, and actually moving for probably 3 hours a day, where I'm actually walking around or exercising or doing something or staying somewhat active. Um, and that also means that I have a very high basal metabolic rate, and that is basically that's basically how many calories you use during the day if you were to do nothing. If you were just to lay down and do nothing during the day, that's how many calories you burn. So if you look at this score here, all right, so I've got a 19.04, or sorry, a 1,904 kilocalories or calories basal metabolic rate. And that's actually really high for someone of my height and my weight. I was told that that's like in the 99th percentile as far as basal metabolic rate for someone who's 5'10 and 160. And I was actually only measured, when I did this test, I was only 163 pounds. Usually I'm about 167. So I'm running a little bit lower than I usually am, so that probably also contributed to why my body fat percentage is a little lower than I had expected. But still, that's really low as far as, and so here's the score if you want to see it. So here's the body fat percentage. So we've got a 4.2% right there. We can see that. So that's 4.2% body fat. I have less than 7 pounds of total body fat mass. And this is actually this is kind of funny to me too, because I've actually been reading a lot about the benefits of fasting, of doing like a 4-day fast. And it turns out that when you're this low body fat, you can't go on a fast because you're burning about a pound of stored fat a day. And especially if it's me and I'm at that higher basal metabolic rate, I might even be burning more than that on a daily basis. So I definitely can't do that because I would get down to like 0. And that also explains why I start to feel so tired if I'm doing a more intense workout and I don't have the endurance that I used to. So then we decided to do a different kind of fat measuring test. So you can also, the other way that you can do it is using calipers. So you can basically, you kind of measure your fat here on your hip. You measure the fat on your upper back here, kind of near the armpit. You measure the fat of the bicep, and then you measure the fat on the back of your arm by the tricep. And then based on how many millimeters you are, you can have a rough estimate of your body fat percentage. And so when I did that, I had 11 millimeters, and that translates to about a 6 or a 7% body fat. So I was told that I'm probably in the middle in terms of my in-body composition test and my caliper test. So I'm probably somewhere in the about 5 to 5.5% body fat range, and that's really low. And so again, at first I was kind of excited. I was like, oh wow, I'm really like and surprised, like, oh wow, I'm really low on body weight. That's really good, right? Turns out that that's not great because I don't have any stored energy for workouts. And because I have somewhat of a keto inspired diet, I'm not having as many carbs as other people. That means I don't have a lot of stored energy to do intense workouts, which is probably why when I start to do cardio or when I do like a more intense HIIT workout, I get really tired because I don't have any stored energy. Optimal body fat percentage, if you are a professional athlete, you want to be somewhere in the 8 to 10 range. And then I heard someone told me this weekend that actually optimal for longevity purposes is somewhere in the 13 to 15% range for men, and it's actually higher for women. So now as a result of that, I'm going to be eating more breakfast. I'm going to be trying to eat more throughout the day so that I hit those, so that I get higher calories. I'm going to start drinking more bone broth, just because I think there's not a lot of calories in it, but as far as something that you can just eat quickly to get your weight up, that might help a little bit. So yeah, that's just one of the things I wanted to share with you from the PaleoFX conference. And then based on all of this, I should actually be having about 3,800 to 4,000 calories a day. And I've probably been having about 25 to 3,000 calories. So anyways, I just thought you guys would find that interesting. The people who did this for me are from Central Athlete. They're an Austin-based company. I'm meeting with one of the guys tomorrow to go over this a little bit more depth. Reasons why you don't want to be this low in lean body, this low in fat percentage. If you're that low, you're not going to have energy for longer workouts. You're not going to have energy for your workouts in general. You're also at risk for lower testosterone levels. You could have sleep issues. You could have the less energy issues. And then lower testosterone also just leads to a whole bunch of bad stuff. You're not going to think as clearly. You won't be as relaxed. You'll have higher stress levels. So you do want to make sure that you're not this low in body fat percentage. So I thought this was kind of funny, but also kind of, I'm really glad I took it because now I know that I need to fix something. So this is just one of the things I did at the Paleo FX conference this week. I'm going to be talking about some of the other stuff I did over the next few days. Other stuff going on in Manful Yoga World. We just released the Yoga Fitness for Men book, which is currently #1 in new releases in men's health. If you want to learn more about that, the link is manfulyoga.com/YFFM. And that's what I've got for you today. So thanks guys for tuning in. I hope you found this somewhat entertaining, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
There's someone has a question.
Oh, question.
Someone asked if you're vegan.
Nope,
Want to repeat the question?
not a vegan. I am not a vegan.
And then someone
Or
asked if you know if those smart scales are accurate.
So no test is totally accurate. The best way to get a good test is to combine tests. So you can do the calipers test, you can do the what's it called? Dexel test. I can't remember, DEX something test. And then the InBody test, this is another one to do. I think the InBody has a lower, will come out to a lower body fat percentage than some of the other things. So, cool. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for joining. We're going to be doing this again live on Wednesday, where I'm going to be showing you a routine from the Yoga Fitness for Men book. And if you purchase a book, actually, don't worry about that. Sign up for the VIP list for my Yoga Fitness for Men book. You're going to get access to video routines, sneak previews of some of the chapters, and some behind-the-scenes info from the book. That's all coming up this week. You can sign up at, let's see here, the link will be manfulyoga. That's a very long link. So we're just going to put the link in the description here. Yep. All right, guys, thanks for joining. I'll see you guys in the next one.